Alright everyone, so welcome back to episode 4 of the El Camino build. On this episode, I'm really waiting on parts, so I kind of just have to do what I can until those parts come in. I have some big things coming, by the way. But this is going to be in a time crunch video. It's going to be shorter than normal, but I really don't want to sacrifice quality. So I was thinking, I was like, man, I want to fix like the headlights and stuff. Who's going to watch me poke around on some wires and fixing just like small electrical issues? So I went to ChatGPT. I asked ChatGPT if it can give me a troubleshooting list on how to fix my headlights on my 1965 El Camino. So I don't care how stupid it might be, what it might tell me to do, we're gonna do it, and we can see if ChatGPT can fix my headlights. Reading off my list, the first thing that ChatGPT says is to check the headlight switch. Let's go over to the headlight switch. All right, headlight switch. Headlight switch is on. Now, step 1. Check the headlight switch. Make sure the headlight switch is in the on position. It is in the on position. Now it says, if the switch feels loose or does not click into place, may need to be replaced. It feels good. So now let's go to step 2. Inspect the fuses. Alright, so the fuses on the older GM style vehicles are just below the dash on the driver's side. So here's our fuses right here. Look up the diagram, the fuse for the headlights right here. If the fuse is blown, replace it with a new one of the same amperage. If the fuse continues to blow after replacement, there may be a short circuit in the wiring that needs to be investigated, which is true. All right, so now we're gonna check that fuse. Turn the key on. Alright, so here's our test light. So the way a test light works, one side's connected to either positive ground, and then you probe either positive ground. So if you have ground hooked up, you want to probe the positive side of something. So for in this case, I'm checking fuses, so I want to have this side on ground. Well, let's connect to the ground there. This is our headlamp fuse. I got power going to it. I believe this side is the receiving side, and this, we don't have a lot of power going to it, but we do have some running through there. The fuse is good though, so I would check wiring behind that, make sure that the wire is getting power to that fuse. All right, the fuse is fine, it's not blown. Examine the bulbs, check the condition of the headlight bulbs. They appear burnt out, replace them with new bulbs. All right, let's go over there. They look pretty good to me. It's hard to see it in there, but they do look pretty good. I can see the actual resistor right there. I can't really see that one because it's the low beam, but it looks fine to me. Check the other side. The other side looks pretty good. All right, bulbs look good. Sure that the bulbs are properly seated in their sockets. Okay. You got a free wire right there. Not enough to cause a problem though. They look pretty seated to me. Alright, I think we continue to the next step. Alright, so next step, look for any visible damage or breaks in the wiring harness leading to the headlights. You want to make sure that your negative battery terminal post is disconnected. So now what we're going to do is check for continuity at the headlight switch for the low beam, which will be this tan wire, which leads to this terminal right where my pointer finger is. Right, so we're going to check one lead to that terminal, and then the other lead to the main wiring harness plug. You can see that tan wires right there, so that will lead to this bottom left terminal right there. So I'm going to get the multimeter, checking continuity between that wiring harness on the wire on the connector for the headlight to the main wiring harness. So we're going to connect the alligator clip, bottom left terminal that I was showing you, where that tan wire comes out. Then we're going to come over here, grab the wiring harness. You should hear an audible beep if I did it right. See? So that wire has continuity. It's not a load test, but it does have continuity. So we know that wire is okay. I would probably do a load test if it were me, but we're trying to follow ChatGPT to see if ChatGPT can diagnose your headlight switch. In the wiring diagram, that tan wire goes from your headlight connector to your main wiring harness plug, and then, which is that bottom left terminal right there, and then it goes to your beam selector switch, your high beam, low beam selector switch. So now what we need to check and see if it has continuity between here to the beam selector switch. We're gonna run this through here and the inside and follow me in here. I said now we're gonna come inside. So we have the alligator clip connected to the wiring harness. And then we need to check to see if we have continuity on our beam selector switch, which is right here on the floor. I'm gonna peel that carpet back and then we can test that. All right, so I got my socket, got beam selector switch out. Take your screws or whatever you take apart and just put them back where they go. That way you know where they go. It's a good trick of the trade. All right, so now I got my selector switch. Now it'll be easier to get this connector off. That's how that works. Well, I think we found the problem. And this is why I put dielectric grease on everything I touch. Should be able to get it now. Right, now we got it off. So if I were to bypass this switch and the headlights turn on, then we know it was just the selector switch. It makes sense for this to go bad. Look at all that rust that's right there. Water probably flooded into that. Yeah, I'm willing to bet that was our problem. Even if the switch wasn't bad, look how rusted that terminal connector is. Alright, so we got the connector off. So now we can test continuity between the tan wire here and the tan wire there on the main harness. Should have continuity between here and here. Alright, so that wire is good from there to there. I'm willing to bet that this was our problem. Do conveniently have a cut wire that's perfectly the size of a jumper wire. Not planned or anything. On the wiring diagram, it shows there's our beam selector switch. So green, light green goes to our high beams. The tan wire goes to our, I've got green or blue. It kind of like fades in the green. Black and tan. So that's confusing, but I'm willing to bet that if we jump the tan wire to the yellow or the black wire, then we should get power to it. What I could do is check. So now what I'm gonna do is turn this to volts DC 20. I'll hook the battery back up and check each one of these for a power. See if I'm getting 12 volts to that switch. So now I got the wiring harness plugged back up, the keys on the on position, the light switch is out or on, and the battery is connected. Now I'm gonna check, I'm gonna swap my leads because I only have an alligator clamp for one. Put this one on this end so I can clip it to my ground. And I'm gonna hook this one for my positive side. Volts 20 DC, take my ground, a red test lead because I don't have alligator clips for my black one. And make sure I got a good ground. These should be on. I don't think I have a good ground. That's 12 volts right there. So I got a good ground now. So now I'm gonna check this switch for positive wire. No positive reference. So I don't think the switch was the problem. So now what we do is follow our wiring diagram past the selector switch. Follow that yellow wire on this diagram, but our black wire, you're not the problem, are you? Should be our black wire that's hot. All right, so next thing in our wiring diagram is the light switch. Test the dimmer switch. I butchered it back together with some zip ties. If you, let's see if I can show you. Just to show you that the dimmer switch is actually working. Take the alligator clamp, put it on that one terminal. So now that terminal has continuity. And then now this one does. So the switch is working. So now we're gonna test the actual light switch. And I'm gonna show you how to take this lever out. If you look behind the dash, up here, there is a little button that you have to press. You're gonna find it, this one right here. You press that. As you pull this out, it will come straight out. But you press it with one hand, wiggle it back and forth with the other hand, and it pulls straight out. And then I ran into another issue. I don't have a tool to fit that. It's normally a keyway, like a screwdriver or a special tool. Mine is like 2 keyholes, like if you were to change a grinding disc out. So what I did was took a pick on that end, took a small allen head on this end, and something that you can get leverage on, like a screwdriver, or in my case, a file. That should just come right out. Yeah, that's basically how you can get that out. You just use a pick and something to pull between them and twist. So now I can take a pick, work it around. And then you get a light switch. So that can stay in there. Keep in mind that keyhole when you go put it back in. So you have issues putting it back in, you probably know why. Now I can get under here, unplug the light switch. Alright, disconnect the battery because I'm going to get in there with a screwdriver. Pry a little. I don't want to accidentally jump terminals and weld my screwdriver to it. Alright, so I got the switch out. I'll show you how that works later. There's that spring that I was talking about that you can press. And then now I'm going to figure out what I broke for one. We just decided that. Okay, that doesn't matter. Gotta get a new one anyways. Yeah, this switch is definitely bad. Without a doubt. Now I'm gonna check our wiring diagram and see if the light connector switch is getting power. So now we're gonna try and figure out where it gets its power from. It looks like it's gonna be a red wire. Red wire. So now we'll come down here, find that red wire. Alright, let me reconnect the battery. Alright, battery's reconnected. Now, I'm going to take my ground, the one with the alligator clip, the red lead, connect it to the ground, no good ground. Check for 20 volts DC. Test, make sure I got a good ground. I have 7 volts present at my fuse now, the one that I had none at earlier. Alright, so now I'm going to take my lead and probe the positive wire, the one that's responsible for powering the switch. And the switch was getting power, so we know the switch is bad now. So we know the switch is getting power. So now what we're going to do is take this to the workbench and test it, each terminal, see if it's switching power. So let's go over there. Turn that on. And you can see clearly that there lies our problem. Looks like it got burnt out. Definitely not good for continuity. That is, I guarantee you, is our issue right there. This is an opportunity to learn. I'm also going to show you how to, I was talking about that button, so I'm going to take that chance and show you how to remove your switch from your dash. So you're under the dash, this is all you see. You just see this. Pull the, you're going to wiggle it back and forth as you press down on that spring, and then you're going to pull it out. So show you how to do it again. Then I found this easier for me is to pull the light switch all the way out, reach your hand under the dash, feel this little spring, wiggle the stick back and forth, and then it should just pull out just like that. And you can see how it worked. It locks on right here. So that's how you remove your switch from early model Chevys. I think they used this switch for around 30 years. Made in the USA, that's why it lasts so long. Can't really help it got rained on. And by the way, these do not come with your light switch when you get them. So make sure you keep it, unless you buy a complete kit, but otherwise it doesn't come with it. So now we're gonna test the switch, even though I already know it's bad right there. Alright, well, it's not working anymore. I already found our problem, it's right there. I know that this switch was getting 12 volts. Our switch was bad, so that was the reason why the headlights are not turning on. What we could do, just so I can say we fixed it, could do a jumper wire between where the switch would get power and distribute it. So after reviewing the wiring diagrams, I decided to jumper the positive wire because my light switch and my high beam selector switch went bad. So I jumpered the positive lead for the light switch onto the light circuit as if the switch were on, and then I come down here and I made this jumper wire. It's got the positive for the switch, selector switch right here, and then 2 leads going to the high beam and the low beams. And guess what? We have lightage. Look at that. We had lightage. What happened to... Well, I had lightage. That one, I believe, just burnt out. Alright, well that's it. So it turns out you can fix your headlights using ChatGPT. I did not expect that to actually work. I kind of went off track a little bit, but remember when I told you all that this video is going to be short? Well, if you stayed this long, guess what? You get a sneak peek to the next video, because look what I just got in the mail. I want to open it up for you. You're going to have to guess what it is. Maybe a battery, maybe a light switch, maybe it's a tire. I can't put my finger on it. I don't know what it is just yet. Maybe you should stay tuned and figure out what this is in the next video. Might be something important, who knows? I don't know what it is yet. I haven't opened it. But yeah, I appreciate y'all for staying to the end. Clearly, have big things coming for the next video, so make sure you stay tuned for that. If you want to keep up with all the videos I post, make sure you subscribe. If you want to be notified on when I post a new video, click the bell button. And if you like the video, leave a like. If not, leave a dislike and tell me what you didn't like in the comments. We are extremely close to 1,000 subscribers. We're at like 610 as of right now. And every single time one of you subscribes, it really does mean a lot to me. Like even one, you make my day that much better every time you subscribe or leave a like, comment. I love comments. I can sit there and reply to comments all day. I have a lot of people out there that are smart. I do want to know if one of you maybe assembled these in the factory. That'd be kind of cool if one of you could let me know that you worked on them, assembled them in the factory. That'd be really nice. This is a 65. But yeah, I'm gonna clean up. I'll see y'all in the next video.